is a country of youth. Nearly 500 million of our population, which is over 1.25 billion or 125 crores, is considered to be youth between the age of 18 to 45. One of the biggest problems facing them is that about 17 million people join the workforce every year. What do they do? How do they get jobs? That is one question. Second question is those who are already in engineering colleges and various other graduate, postgraduate programs, are they really employable? You would have seen just a couple of days back a staggering headline by telling that the engineering colleges, 60% of the students are not getting candidates who are passing engineering are not getting employment, proper employment. They are either underutilized, underemployed, or they are not just getting any employment whatsoever. So this is the challenge which a country like India faces, and it has got massive ramifications. If people who are getting education do not get employable skills, they remain unemployed, and it can create insurgency, it can create various kinds of social upheavals and create problems for India. In a large sector like textile and apparel, which is the largest employment generating sector after agriculture in the country, and it's also one of the few activities which you can find in every nook and corner of India. It is spread across India, and wherever you go, there is a textile tradition, there is an embroidery tradition, there is a karigari, there is a handiwork which is associated with either a nomadic tribe or a settled group of communities or a village, and it is widely accepted that the 5,000 years of heritage is there for Indian textiles, and it's world over. It is well known that Indian textile printed, block printed or embroidered fabrics or other kinds of embellished fabrics are widely known to have created many fashions over the years. However, somewhere along the line, the skills of the people have diminished. One of the reasons I have narrated in one of the earlier episodes that the Janata Sari scheme, while it did help people out of starvation, deaths like the farmer suicides which happen today, could have happened in the weaver community if that scheme did not come in. However, it had also its downside where it affected very good traditions of textiles because they took the easy route, and that is what happens when you talk about Indian textile traditions. It had a lot of very complex weaving techniques. For example, Malkanvaru sari, which is a cut border in Karnataka, it is a very complex sari, or a Kanjivaram, or a Pochambali. They are very complex, weaving traditions which are available in the country. So when you look at the skills, one set of skills are already languished and gone, and the other skills need to be preserved. So that is one major challenge. The other one is the complex downstream, which is the garment sector, where export sector has so much of challenges in terms of various new styles and designs coming in, and the people needed to be trained in that. And because of that, productivity and efficiency were not up to the mark compared to many other competing countries. For example, when a competing country produces easily a gents dress shirt or a formal shirt, maybe about 30 to 32 of them per worker per machine. India was always around 18 to 20 shirts per worker per machine, which was very low productivity. And on top of that, the shirts had always lots of, or any garment for that matter, had many quality complaints. This is what led to, in 2010 October, when we had this fortunate serendipitous circumstance by which we were working with the Ministry of Textiles to look at the possibilities of skill development, much ahead of the country's 2012 National Skill Development Policy, and much later in 2015, the new policy. Much ahead of that, the Ministry of Textiles has been looking at a Natija scheme, a neighborhood skill development scheme. Unfortunately, that did not really proceed because the Planning Commission did not approve at that point in time, and we got a chance to work with the ministry and create a new scheme called the Integrated Skill Development Scheme. While ATDC is not taking credit for the entire scheme, our inputs were taken by the ministry a great deal because we happen to be one of the few institutes in the country which had at that point in time about 45 centers across the country. We had roughly about 1,500 machines, and we were looking at, we were already offering long-term and short-term courses. By and large, 4 months to 1 year courses were very popular at ATDC at that point in time. And when we looked at the integrated skill development scheme, we set very important contributions. One, it has to be a fast track program. It cannot take the earlier 3 to 4 months of tailor kind of make through tailor program. It needs to be an assembly line oriented program, and therefore some of the steps which are required to make a garment, it can be one forward step, one backward step, and the step which that particular operator is doing, and then get an overall consciousness about the quality parameters, etc. One of the major skills which came up, which we will discuss with our guest of honor today, with Mr. Krishiya, also about the soft skills, which was found to be lacking in the group of people who joined an industrial establishment. So we gave these inputs to the ministry and told that let us not look at umbrella machines which were running at 400 to 500 RPM, but look at really high-speed machines of 4,000 to 5,000 RPM machines, which are industrial swing machines, and train people in that with a very conscious attempt to create a new cadre of good quality operators, quality controllers, inline checkers, helpers, ironing persons, spotters, pattern makers, all these different trades, and create a new cadre which can then help the export industry to perform better. To cut a long story short, the Ministry of Textiles should be complimented, and having foreseen the advent of skill revolution in the country and initiated the scheme, and whole compliments go to Mr. Srinivas, the Joint Secretary at that time, and before him Mr. Jayan Singh, who is now the Chief Secretary of State of Gujarat, and also Mrs. Rita Menon and the Secretary Textiles, and the subsequent secretaries like Mrs. Sora Chatterjee, Mrs. Kiran Digra, and the current Secretary, Madam Rashmi Verma. All of them, the entire team, need to be complimented because they stayed with this program and helped it to mature, by which over 8.5 lakh people have been already trained under the scheme. And ATDC can take pride that 55% of the ministry's target in the pilot project was contributed single-handedly by ATDC's 200 centers across India. And in the main project also, we have been continuing with almost 25-26% of the target of the Government of India, and as a serious leader in the case of Component 1 organization. So in a sense of speaking, we are already crossing 250,000 people having been trained in nearly 200 centers.